We will be making a recipe from my recipe book today that is on sale at Amazon. It is Mama's Desserts, dedicated to my grandmother. And the recipe is the fluffy white icing recipe. So, what you will need is all-purpose flour and milk to start, and a pinch of salt. So, I'm going to double the recipe. 2 cups of regular milk. We're going to put it in a mason jar. So, we'll just do it the easy way. That's 1. This is number 2. So we got the milk in. So now you need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. What I'm going to do is put it on a piece of parchment paper so I can hopefully drop it into the mason jar without spilling it. So just once you get all the flour and milk in there, we're going to shake it up. The reason why I put it in a mason jar, so my icing doesn't have any lumps. You just shake it till the mixture is creamy, because then we're going to cook it till it has the consistency of gravy. Let's take the lid off the jar here. See what we got. Now we need to put just a dash of salt in. See how it looks inside? We're going to shake it up a little bit more. Make sure we get all the flour mixed together. We're going to cook this on the stove on medium-high heat. Once we get it shaken up enough, we'll add another cup of milk and shake it up some more. I'm going to dump that in the saucepan over here. We're going to do 1 more cup of milk in the mason jar to get all the rest of the flour out of the jar. So all together we have 2 cups of flour, 4 cups of milk. We just dump it all in here. Okay, see how it's starting to firm up a little? You gotta stir it the whole time so it doesn't stick to the pan. And just keep stirring it until it is like a paste. Heat it until it becomes a paste. Then you gotta let it cool, and you gotta let it cool completely before we do the next step of adding the sugar and the vanilla and the Crisco to make the fluffy icing. See how it's starting to really firm up? Get to be a paste. That's what you want to happen. Just got to make sure that the heat is on medium heat so you don't scorch it. Just keep turning it until it all becomes a paste. See how quickly it goes from liquid to paste? So you really got to watch it and keep stirring it. That's how you want it to look. So turn heat off. Take it off the heat. You got to let it cool. It'll probably take at least a good hour to make sure it's really cold enough to do the next step to make the icing. The first part of the icing, we had to cook the flour and the milk on the stove. Then let that cool for at least an hour or 2. Make sure it's good and cold. And we're going to put it in the mixer. Mix it up a little. Okay, then we're going to put 2 cups of sugar in, just regular sugar, okay? And 2 cups of Crisco. Once you have the flour mixture in there, the Crisco and the sugar, you need 3 teaspoons of vanilla. It's 1, 2, 3. Then we just put the mixer down and start mixing it up. Okay, we're going to scrape the sides a little, just to make sure everything's getting incorporated good. Scrape everything around. Lock it back down, turn it on high. Mix it about 5 minutes. See how nice and fluffy it is? It will remind you of the icing that you get in a Hostess cupcake or a Twinkie. Real light and fluffy. You icing your cake with it. It's awesome. I made a cake to put my fluffy icing on. And what I'm going to do is I just took it out of the oven. I'm going to roll it up with the parchment paper so we can roll it back out and make a cake roll out of it. And this cake is just made of a box of cake mix, 3/4 cup of water, 1/2 cup of oil, 3 eggs, a box of vanilla pudding, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and I cooked it at 365 for 20 minutes, and we're going to let it cool. Then we'll unroll it, we'll put our fluffy icing in, and you'll have a nice cake roll. Now that the cake is cooled, we roll it back out, put the fluffy icing on it that we already made, and we roll it back up with the parchment paper. Try not to crack it. Let's take it easy. There's your roll. Then we just sprinkle some confectionery sugar on it. This is our cake roll with our fluffy icing in the inside and confectionery sugar on top. So that is the recipe for fluffy white icing, and you can find it in the recipe book on Amazon, and I hope that you like it.